woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real. You just gotta take your time, unwind and chill. Cause now it's time to love yourself. Build emotional and mental health. Cause black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real.
Hey y'all, we're back with another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. Your hosts Myra and Danica. And we have a very special guest today. Her name is Marley, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce her. Okay, y'all? So Marley Rae, known as Namaste Marley Rae, is a 500-hour yoga certified instructor and a driving force behind WalkGood LA, her family-founded nonprofit. As COO and Director of Health and Wellness, she oversees programming at the WalkGood Yard, leads community yoga classes, and curates wellness experience worldwide. Marley is also a co-founder of Umar Retreats and is pursuing an MA in Yoga Studies at Loyola Marymount University, deepening her commitment to holistic well-being and community. All right, y'all. So this is a special guest. We've been waiting to link up. So, Danica, you want to kick us off with a this or that?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Marley Rae, for being
Yes,
here.
thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all.
Thank you for the intro.
Of course.
I was like, hold on, wait, that is me. I did do that.
It's you. Yes, it's you. No, y'all, we've been going back and forth, really trying to make this happen. So we're super happy to have
Yes,
you.
very happy.
I'm happy to be here, honestly. You all are having important conversations, and I think that this is probably very timely to have a conversation about Black women mental health, you know?
Of course.
So, yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.
All right, so let's have a little fun. So we're gonna do a this or that. So I mean, I'm coming up with this because this is what I just experienced. So if this or that, if you had to choose 30 minutes in traffic
Oh, gosh.
the whole time, but it's only 30 minutes,
Okay.
or 50 minutes, no traffic, but it's 50 minutes, right?
Oh.
Which one would you choose? The 30 minutes of traffic or 50 minutes, no traffic?
What type of traffic?
Hold
is
on.
it?
Gridlock. Like, no, you're barely, it probably was a mile, or less than a mile, but it's taking you 30 minutes because you're barely going.
Oh, I'm taking 50 minutes, no traffic. Easy. That's easy for me.
I agree.
Yeah.
I just look, oh my goodness. I'm going to tell you. But Myra, hold on first. You answer first before I go into why I would choose the 50 minutes like Marley.
I'm going to choose the 30 minutes.
Ooh.
Not because I like traffic, but because my patience. Like, I want to get to the place in the 30 minutes. I don't like, when I lived in San Diego, I was here like every weekend and people thought I loved it and I absolutely hated that drive. So I'm fine with the 30 minutes.
That's fair.
I listen to my podcast, my music. I'm going to have a concert. I like to roll down the windows and dance because that makes other people look at me and stare at me and then they start dancing. It actually has happened to me. Yeah.
I did that
Like, I be
the
going
other
like
day.
this. And people were like, oh, look at her. And then they start dancing too. Like, it's fun.
I did literally the other day, and this lady, she like rolled down the window. She was just looking at me, and I was like, I was dancing. Yeah, it makes people's days for sure, and also just your car. Sometimes, at least for me, is such a safe place.
Yes.
So that when I'm expressing myself in my car, I'm like, okay, I could just be me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is fair. And that is great that you've been able to make it fun.
But see, I would rather turn up my music and
close.
keep going, and keep going for another 20 minutes. Yeah.
Where are we going though?
Yeah.
Like, is this somewhere fun that we're looking forward to? Or-
I'm going to Big Sur.
Oh.
It's already been in the plans. And for some reason, every time I make a date to go to Big Sur, something happens. So yeah, that's happened
to me too, so I've given up.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna go eventually.
No, I'm going to Big Sur.
This is your sign. Yeah. You're going.
Yeah, you're going too. You want to go with me?
When are you going?
I don't know. But we going.
I want to see
You gotta get
Are we gonna
date.
stop along the way though? Because I want to see the Hearst Castle because that's on the way.
We could do it all. I'm just going there. That's all I know.
How far is that?
I think it's like 6 hours about.
Oh.
But the view is supposed to be like beautiful, like along the drive. Yeah.
Okay, we taking turns driving.
We can.
2 and 2 too.
I have an electric car though, so it's gonna probably take us. That should be the real question. Would you rather sit in traffic or take an electric car?
We're not taking your car. We're not taking it. I'm sorry. I can't. No.
You want to know what's funny though? Like every time I've been on road trips with friends, we say we're gonna like take turns and drive. I don't know what it is.
You end up driving.
Because I don't want nobody else to drive. And I like to drive like a speed racer with my music. And my friends just like, oh, we're getting there safely, but quick. And it's
I also feel like once you're in the flow, it's like,
I agree.
I don't want nobody else to do it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like driving, honestly.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think after 4 hours, that's when I'm like, all right, I'm done with this.
I feel you.
6 hours, like being from Kentucky, drive like Atlanta is like 6 hours or
Okay.
so.
Yeah, you in a whole nother state.
Y'all are spoiled that y'all get to just drive to
Yeah.
states.
Everything is right
We
there.
still in California.
I know, literally. But in talking about that, for me, the traffic, I just, on my way up here, y'all, so from Inglewood, Long Beach, it's later. It's 6:40. I'm thinking I'm going to get here straight 25:30. I'm looking at the GPS. That thing's going up and up. And it's
Yeah,
because
mine
it's
too.
traffic.
Yep.
It was a car accident on the other side of the highway, but as we know, people in LA County like to look. Keep going. I hope the people are okay, but keep going.
Yeah.
And being in that traffic, I just be like, I be trying to put my little music on, my little pop, whatever. It's just, I don't like it. And so I'd rather the 50 minutes of, it's just, I feel more peaceful.
Same.
I feel like I'm not like as irritated. You got the fast lane out here that's never fast. And the slow lane, the slower than the fast lane. Why? Get over there. So I'm going to say no for the 30-minute traffic. I guess if I was really excited, though, to go somewhere, then I want to get there quick.
Yeah, because if you're going to Beyonce, I'll sit in the 30 minutes of traffic so I can see her on time. But the 50 minutes, I might miss the beginning of the concert.
But see, if you're seeing Beyonce, you have no other choice but to sit in that 30.
Yeah, that's
there
very
isn't no
true.
this or that.
Did you go?
I did.
I wonder what
And
y'all go-
sat in traffic literally for 30 minutes, and I was
Damn.
0.2 miles away from SoFi. So yeah,
I'm just gonna
that's just
walk.
something you have to
Sorry.
accept. No, I wasn't walking in those cowboy boots.
Oh, you
girl.
was in the boot.
I was in the boots.
Let me out this car. Okay. So I feel like we have our consensus.
Yes.
We're a split vote here. But thank you for
I had to do it.
thank you for participating
I
in our
love
this in our this or that. I think we got booed.
Basically.
But it's okay. We all made it here.
Oh, I thought the traffic got booed. That's
Oh,
what I took.
y'all
it
got
as.
booed.
That's what I took it as.
Let's be
Look.
clear.
That's better. I'm glad.
Gosh, y'all are hilarious. Let's go ahead and jump in and just ask, what inspired you to pursue yoga? And do you have a favorite style of yoga?
Yeah. So what inspired me to do yoga? I started practicing yoga actually while I was studying abroad. So I studied abroad in South Africa. Yeah. And I really hold South Africa as that was like the catalyst, that was the beginning for me. And I was 20 years old. That was me seeing the world for the first time. And it was also the first time I fell in love. And
South
so
Africa.
in South Africa, he was on my trip. And he was actually the one that introduced me to yoga. There was one day where he was on the ground and he was in Happy Baby with his feet up in the air. And I walked in, I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what are you doing with your feet up in the air like this? And he was like, you've never tried yoga? And I was like, no. I had a video when I was a kid. And I remember we did things like volcano pose and elephant, whatever it was when I was like 3 years old. But I hadn't done anything since then. And so he was like, get on the floor, try it. And so I tried it and it was like something clicked for me. It was like my shoulders just kind of released. It was my mind. I felt at peace. My breath was flowing in a way that it hasn't before. And I was experiencing a lot of anxiety from just being home, so far away from home. I had never been that far away from home before. And I just felt at home in my body in that moment. And so I always say that he's the reason why I started. And then the breakup was the reason why I kept going.
Hey.
Okay. It was the heartbreak was the reason why I kept going.
Wow.
And even though that relationship didn't sustain, I found a huge, huge relationship with myself, one, and with the practice.
Yes, I love that. I discovered yoga from a breakup too. I was
Okay.
like,
See?
home from college, and me and my boyfriend had just broken up, found out he got another girlfriend. And I was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to tell my friends. I was like, I'm just going to go to Crenshaw Yoga and Dance. And the classes were like $9 at the time. And I went, and this is when I fell in love with hot yoga. My first class was a hot yoga class. Yes. And so I went, and I was like, what is this? Like, my body feels different. I kept going and kept going and kept going. And then, the rest is history.
Yes, I have very similar. So when I came back from South Africa, a couple of my friends took me to Core Power Yoga. Ooh. And so, and Core Power during that time, that era, Core Power was that girl, okay? You wanted a good yoga class, Core Power was that girl. Yes. And so they took me to a Core Power class, and my instructor was actually an African man. And so here, this practice is being introduced to me through the motherland, back in Africa and also now back in America. Wow. And so his name was Timmy Tope, and he doesn't teach anymore, but he was just like the blueprint for how I practice yoga and now how I teach. I remember going into his class, and it was like the cadence of his voice, his music selection. It was what he was talking about, the intentions, there was just so much intentionality behind his class. It really felt like poetry. It really did. If you could experience physical poetry, that's what it was. And it was hot. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Yes. And so I kept taking his class. But as I continued to get deeper and deeper into the yoga world, I realized that my introduction to yoga was very different than the actual representation of the westernized practice. And it started really making me feel like, okay, where is my actual place in this? So to your point, I love, or to your second question, I love a good slow flow. And the reason why I love a good slow flow is because it feels like I'm reclaiming my time. And that's what I started feeling like when I started going into some of these yoga classes. I was like, I don't want to move so fast, and I don't want this to just be about the physical body. I want to take my time, and I also want to take my time with people that look like me.
Yes. Wow. So I have to give you your flowers then, because I take Jasmine Bynes' yoga class every Wednesday at 5:30 a.m. And I was like, girl, because she be beating our asses in them classes. Like, I got to curse because it's slow, but it's intense, but the music is amazing. And I was like, how the hell did you get into this? And she was like, I used to go to WalkGood, and Marley put me on. I'm like, who is Marley? And she's like, look up WalkGood, and like, you'll see, but pause. So then one of my coworkers was like, I go to WalkGood, like I have a membership there, you should come. But then she found out you teach at our gym. And so she was like, you know what? Like, I found out Marley teaches at the gym, so now I go to all her classes. Like, you have to check it out. And I'm like, all y'all keep telling me, like, I get it. Y'all are raving Marley.
Please
so
don't make me cry.
I got to give you your flowers, because these people be talking about you. And at first I was like, who is this?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Jasmine be praising you. Yeah.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Jasmine.
Yes.
It's a small community. Like, y'all all then everybody starts knowing each other, right?
Yeah.
Within the community. Even you hearing like Crenshaw Yoga and Dance. Like, when I won't say everybody. It feels like everybody knows about that space, Yeah. It's just making me think about like hearing you get your flowers from a person who knows you. Yeah. It's just all connected.
I really appreciate that, because I think for me, I'm always so focused on the work. And I'm so focused on showing up. And now I'm in this position where yoga started really as mine. It started as my hobby and what I do to practice and heal. And now it's really my livelihood. It's my business. It's what I do, and it's what I love. So I would never want to do anything else, truly. But being reminded of that sometimes when you're just in the work, especially now having a studio, having a brick and mortar. So we're running the WalkGood Yard simultaneously to the nonprofit, but they're really two completely different entities, and it's only a 5-person team. And so we're running these two companies and growing that it's, you get lost. You get lost in the tasks at hand. And so being reminded of that, knowing that me just showing up, and that's one of the reasons why I'm teaching at Iconics. Should I have said that? I don't know.
It's up to you. I was like, I don't want to tell everybody, but
there too.
That's one of the reasons why I teach at the gym, is because I love just going in, teaching my class, and not having to be in owner mode or management mode or nonprofit mode. I could just teach
and be the girl with the black bag.
And be the girl with the black bag.
That's
yes. Yes, but those days that I teach, because it's a 5:30 a.m. class, and naturally I am not a morning person. Like
That is.
at all. I've had to train myself to do this, but that class at 5:30 is so special to me.
Yes.
And then afterwards, I get to get my own little workout in. So between 5:30 to like 8 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays are my favorite times of the week, where I could just do what I love without any of the extras. But thank you for reminding me that the work is working.
Oh, it's working.
Yeah.
It's definitely working
That's
in the community. I know you talked about like the slow flow, right? Being like one of your favorites. Has it ever been a time or a day of week where you're doing the yoga, you're doing the things, and you just don't feel grounded, and it's just not feeling good? And during those times, what else do you do?
Yes, all the time. Honestly, it happens a
Thank you
lot.
for
It
being
happens
honest.
more. Yeah. One thing I say about yoga, and I think I just said it earlier, but yoga is really like my best friend. And when you think about your best friend or any other relationships, there's times where you go a couple weeks maybe without talking or without seeing, and you're busy, you know, and then you catch up, and then it's like, oh, this feels good. Or maybe you have a falling out, and then you understand each other a little bit deeper once you come back around. That's the same thing with yoga. But I think that yoga, it teaches you not just to be in your body, but it teaches you how to connect in life. So while my practice on my mat might not be the strongest, maybe the Svadhyaya, the self-study is. Maybe that's what I need to work on is okay, it might not be the practice on the mat. It might be the practice in my everyday connections. It might be the practice of getting to bed on time, the practice of non-harming, of being kinder to myself and kinder to others. So I think that the physical practice looks different, of course, sometimes. And when that happens, I think yoga has also taught me how to accept. So it teaches me how to accept, okay, maybe I don't feel right in my body. Or maybe I need to take this as a moment where I don't need a slow flow. I need something a little bit faster. Maybe I don't need something a little faster. I need something that's going to work on my balance. Maybe it's not something that needs to work on my balance. It's something that I just need to sit still and just meditate on. So yoga, I always say, is not one size fits all. There's so many variations. And it's not just the physical practice. It's in everything that we do, the conversations that we have. So to your question, there are days where I don't want to roll out my mat. And most of the days I don't roll out my mat. But it might just be a little sun salutation in the morning. It might be me making a cup of tea and just being mindful of what I'm putting into my body. But yoga really shows up. You know, the root word of yoga is yuj in Sanskrit. And yuj means to yoke, to unite. So I think anytime that I'm being mindful of uniting my breath, of uniting people around me, of uniting ideas and bringing those to life, I'm practicing yoga.
Wow.
So it's really about being just grounded in everything that I do.
You just made it like a light bulb go off in my head because I like really intense yoga classes. Like I said, I like the heat. I like to really, really stretch. And I'm also not a morning person, but I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago, I showed up to class and I was like, I do not want to be here. Sometimes I'll be falling asleep in class. But there was this one day, because at the class I go to, we pretty much know everybody. Like, we don't talk to each other really because we're all tired, but we pretty much know everyone. And I go to the same mat every single time. But this one particular day, I was super tired. I was like, why did I even get up and come here? This girl came who I'd never seen before, and she was struggling. But I don't know what prompted me to get her things that she needed. Like, I went and got her a cup of water. I got her, I made her like a pillow out of like a blanket. And I'm sure the yoga instructor was like, what is she doing? But I was like, I felt like I needed to be here to support her through it. And then she would look at me like shaking. And I'd just be like, girl, you got it. Like, keep going, keep going. And then when I left, I gave her like a little pat on the back and I was like, keep going, like, come back, okay? And then she's like, okay. So hearing you say like the definition and things like that, I'm like, that makes so much sense. I didn't want to go. At the end of all of my classes, I always say, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And if you're not getting that in yoga class, if you're going to a class and you don't feel like you have a greater capacity to be kinder to others, then it's not yoga. I don't care how many chaturangas you do. If you're not being kinder to yourself and kinder to others after that class, then it's not yoga.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that most definitely hits. And I think it it also goes into like the misconception that folks who facilitate yoga are always in like this, everything's good, like you don't ever have bad days.
Bypass.
It's like, no, you do. It's just that yoga grounds you enough to be mindful to get through the things, right? So, but you still go through life. You still go through the adversities of life.
Listen, I just said this the other day. I was having a conversation with one of my favorite instructors. His name is Ja, and he's one of the founders over at the Tree Yoga Co-op.
I was like, that sounds very familiar. That name sounds familiar.
He's wicked smart. Every time I talk to him, I always learn something. And I had the revelation because he was saying how he was talking about his past and just the things that he has gone through to get to this point. I was talking about my past and things I've had to go through to get to this point. And I really had a revelation where I wouldn't want to learn anything from an instructor who hasn't gone through something.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you have for me if you haven't gone through something on your own? If you haven't come to some kind of realization, or if you haven't, understood what it is that you're working on, what is it that I'm going to learn from you? And so I think some of the best instructors are the ones who are able to be open and vulnerable about the things that they have been through and really teach from the scar and not the wound. Because I think there's also a lot of wellness practitioners who really aren't well, and they utilize their classes to, I not necessarily project, but to make sense for themselves. And it's, I think in those times, you really have to learn how to take a seat back and be the student. Because it's not good, especially when your students are going through things and they're coming to you. So I always like to take a class with teachers who teach from the scar, who teach from the place where you could see that they've been through something, but that tissue is healed, it's patched up, it doesn't hurt anymore, but they're able to say, look at that, I survived, and this is what I learned from it.
Oh my goodness.
Therapists, y'all hear this too?
Because
y'all should also be going to therapy.
This is exactly what's making me think of.
Yeah,
absolutely. And yoga instructors need therapists as well. I have a therapist that I see every other week.
We love it.
And energy is real. And when you are a light, you attract dark. And people will come to you because you make them feel good. So I'm really speaking to yoga instructors right now. Really, instructors, any instructor who holds space for people's grief and trauma needs to make sure that they are also seeing professional support.
Totally agree.
It's so important, even if they don't know it or feel it. It's something in the subconscious where that energy is being transferred, and they need a space as well.
So, in thinking about all things Marley Rae, because we want to get to know you some more. So, as far as the nonprofit, WalkGood LA, it's a family-founded nonprofit. And business and family can come with struggles sometimes. So, how have you been able to handle business and family? Ooh.
No, it's not. It's a sigh of deep gratitude for the path that we've been put on.
Yes.
I would not want to work with anybody else. Working with my family has changed my life. It's changed our relationship to each other. It's brought us closer. I know so much more about them. And I think that it's really what God has always intended for us to be. Of course, there's times where they're going to get on my nerves. But the fact of the matter is that they're going to get on my nerves and they're stuck with me. And I'm stuck with them. And so it's almost that makes it so good, because we can really be honest with each other. We don't judge each other. We accept each other. For our personal lives and our professional lives. We set boundaries with each other. And it's been a learning experience, but it's been the best thing of my life. It's been so deep.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so refreshing to hear.
It is.
Families, they do stuff together and they just fall apart.
Look.
So it's good to hear that.
Our family is really rooted though. And we have our angels over us. My grandy and my grandpa, they were all about family. and making sure that the Ralph name comes from a good household, and that my granddad used to always say, when you walk out the door, always remember where you come from. And so it's always rooted in, okay, this is my tribe. This is who God gave me to protect and serve. This is my family. And so I think that's also something that we really take into Walk Good as well. That whoever comes through our doors is not friends, they're not students, they're not clients, they're family. And so we want to continue to do that. And I think being in a family is realizing that it's not all beautiful all the time. And I love, though, that we work in health and wellness and mindfulness, because we'll have these conversations. If one of us is going through something, we'll be like, okay, well, do we need to make a therapy appointment? Like, how do we hold each other accountable? Do you want to go to yoga class? It's like, we got 5 of them at the yard happening today. Do we need to roll out our mats? Yeah. So we really practice and live the practice together. And so it's been very healthy. It's been very healthy.
Healthy generational patterns. We always talk about like the negative ones and like, oh, we're breaking generational curses or negative things. But you just said about your grandparents and your elders passing on healthy ones, right? Yeah. I love that. Shout out to your family.
Thank you. Thank you. It starts with them, it starts with the foundation. It's all about the foundation. And so we're just continuing that on.
Yeah. I think it's also important to highlight the work that y'all are doing, like with the Black men's circles, the women's circles. Also, they be messaging me. I'm going to show up one of the days to the matcha thing that y'all be having. Like,
we've been doing our matcha workshops. Yes. It's been so good. Mindfulness and matcha. Yeah. And the girls that do it, they have Empress matcha. And it's so good because they source we were just talking about Japan. They source all of their green tea straight from Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Definitely come through.
Yeah. But I bring that up because I think that it's things like that are so important, that help people to feel connected, to feel like family, how you're mentioning, and to also break whatever generational curses or patterns they maybe have at home in their family by bringing them together and having these conversations.
100%. And just to the matcha, those are 2 sisters actually.
Oh, wow.
And their mom, their mom sets up everything. Wow. The sisters, they do the matcha practice and the workshop, and then their brother sells the matcha. So that's a family. Actually, so our team we're all family, literally. So the 5 of us, the executive team, Ivy and Etienne are brother and sister. I'm their first cousin. And then we have Jay and Kavi. Jay is our director of operations. Kavi is our creative director. They're brothers. And then on our socials team, we have Dunkley and Annalie. They're brother and sister too. And they do all of our graphics and socials. So when we say it's blood, it's blood. It's family. And I think, when you think of just the ways in generations how people have been able to sustain and create generational wealth, it's by keeping it in the family. And so I think that in Black and brown communities, we got to do better at keeping it in the family.
For sure. Totally agree. Marley, can you tell us a little bit about how you incorporate elements of Black culture into your practice?
Absolutely. I think that first and foremost, if I'm teaching a class, it's Black because I'm Black. And so the Black culture is always going to be prevalent because I'm always going to be me. But it's very important to me to make sure that it feels familiar. I think so many times, to your point of the spiritual bypassing, everything's okay, da-da-da-da-da. A lot of times, everything isn't okay. The way that we started Walk Good LA is really out of grief and protest. We started Walk Good LA because of the killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. And we said that it's not enough for us to continue to fight this good fight. The fight, the struggle, the this, the that has been ingrained and rooted in our history since the beginning, since the moment we were stolen from our lands and brought to this country. And so really in 2020, we made a decision right then and there to say, you know what? I'm tired of fighting. It's time to heal. And that's when Breathe Good was really birthed. And when everybody was in the streets chanting, I can't breathe, we were in the park breathing good and breathing for the lives that could no longer breathe. And so I think that Black culture is being rewritten in a sense. It's the reclamation that you can't just have Black culture and Black people not be okay. You can't have Black culture and Black men are the leading group of suicide and Black women are being knocked down and not protected. So you can't have the culture if the people aren't good first. Yes. And so I think that elements of bringing Black culture into the space is familiarity. It is through the music, but it's also through safety. It's through reclamation. It's through relaxation. It's through saying, I am worthy. I am worthy of a full and holistic life that was intended for my ancestors, but now I get to participate in so that my children know what it is to live a healthy life. Yeah. And so, I think it's deeper than culture. Yeah.
So then tell me, what would you tell a Black woman who's like, I want to try yoga, but I don't know. Or they have a mom like my mom, where when I told her I went to do yoga, she was like, what type of God do you serve?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like,
I hear that all the time.
What are you talking about?
I hear that all the time. It sounds so cliche, but it's really an education. Mm-hmm. I always say nothing before it's time as well.
Yes.
And so I never want to push anything on anybody. I want people to always come to their own moment where they're like, okay, I want to make a change. And then from there, I would tell them, maybe try yoga. Maybe try just sitting and breathing. Sometimes, even if you don't even use the word yoga, just say, let's roll out the mat. Let's do some stretches. Yes. Changing the words, whatever it is to get them to calm themselves down and slow down. Yes. We don't even have to call it yoga. It's just getting them to take care of themselves.
You hear this, Mom?
It's true. But I also want to say that they're valid in the way that they feel, because really westernized yoga has been portrayed in a certain type of way that wasn't necessarily for us. Mm-hmm. So I would say that they're valid in the way that they feel. And I would just encourage them to continue to find what works for them, because it also might not be yoga for them. For sure. It might be journaling. It might be going to an acting class. It might be watching a movie. It might be going on a walk. So I think for the people that you love, try to encourage them to find what is good for them on their own healing path, because it could look different than yoga.
For sure. Totally agree.
Definitely. And so in thinking about that, as a wellness advocate, how do you navigate the challenges of maintaining authenticity on social media platforms?
Authenticity on social media platforms is a doozy. Honestly, it's a doozy, because I know, from speaking from my own experience, I've seen wellness influencers who I couldn't wait to take their class. And then I take their class and I'm like, oh, there's something lacking. Yeah. And so a lot of times it could be about beautiful postures and all that stuff, which is amazing. I'm still working on my asana. It's not my strongest. Inversions and all that is not where my strength lies. But you have to know, what is your strength? What is your message? And I don't want anybody following me for a version of myself that I'm putting on. I just don't. I don't want anybody following me because they think that my life is all glitz and glam. I want to be able to connect to the person who is going through something. I want to connect to the person who is upset seeing another Black boy shot and killed on their television. I want to connect to the person who might be going through something with their daughter. Me and my mom have a complicated relationship growing up. And I want to connect to that person who might be like, I don't know what to do with my teenage daughter right now. She's going through it. I want to connect to the people who are going through everyday life, who are living a human life. And so I think that on social media, I like to show just my human life and who I am in that. And I think it's also a thing too, where people like to put health and wellness practitioners in a box. Like, we are always, just gonna go by the book and only namaste. I remember I was at a party a couple weeks ago, and my friend handed me a drink, and there was another person that was there, and they're like, "You're my yoga instructor. You shouldn't be." And I was like, actually, it's my day off.
Yeah.
And I'm going to enjoy my cocktail.
Yes, as you should.
As I should. And so I also want people to know that you can't just heal to heal. You can't just heal to heal. You got to heal to live. You got to heal to enjoy. You got to heal to make mistakes and then heal again. You have to accept all of the colors of life. And I don't want to present myself on social media as if I'm just this one thing. It's like, no, I like to go out. I like having fun with my friends. I like going to concerts. I like being fly on the weekends. Like I enjoy those things.
You fly all the time.
Oh, well,
Look
thank
at
you.
her.
Even up the stairs. I was like,
Well,
okay.
Hey. But I like living a holistic. That's holistic, right?
Full life.
That's a full life.
Healing on the daily.
Yeah. Come on.
Yes, healing on the daily.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm thinking though of, because with social media, sometimes it comes with like folks who say things that may sting a little bit or like point out flaws and things like that. Have you dealt with, people say social media trolls, but we'll just say negative comments. I won't call them trolls. Have you dealt with negative comments from folks, and like, how do you handle that?
Yeah. I think I've had my whole journey. I'm still on a journey of radical self-acceptance. I think that it changes and we're all insecure about something. But I remember there's two things. I'm actually being dragged online right now. We'll get into that in a little bit.
You are?
Yeah, I am. And I'm not, and I said what I said is what I said, but we'll get into it. I said what I said.
Okay.
Is what I said. But we'll get into that in just a second. The first time that happened to me is I was really pursuing doing more digital content and doing more YouTube videos. And so I was so committed to posting on TikTok and Instagram and all this stuff. And so I posted this one video on TikTok and all of the comments were great. But then there was one comment where this woman said, "How can you be teaching health and wellness and you're not even in shape yourself?" Yeah. And that was the moment where I realized people think that healthy and well is dependent on your body shape when it's absolutely not.
Ooh.
That was also the moment where I had to take a step back and look at myself. And I was like, okay, where are my levels of confidence within this to either feed into it or look away? And I knew that for myself, I had to look away. But I used it as fuel at the same time. And while I didn't take it to heart, I did take it I took it to the gym. I did do that. And I needed to for myself. I went to the gym, and that's really where my now workout journey happened, is I didn't want to look a certain way for this woman, but I wanted to feel good about myself.
Because it opened up your eyes to think, okay, this is actually something that maybe I struggle with a little bit.
That
myself,
maybe
so
I struggle with myself. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily just her, but she brought something to light that I was like, okay, you know what? I don't want to just look a certain way, but I want to be strong. Yeah. You know, I want to feel good in my body. And I think at the time I wasn't feeling good in my body. And she was just like a reflection of that in a way. So since then, I've actually lost 40 pounds. And I'm on my journey, and I feel like I did it the right way. My body continues to fluctuate, and that's been a whole journey of acceptance within itself.
Sure. Yes.
But recently, now we're getting into why I'm being dragged online. Crazy.
Why would they ever?
Listen,
Marley Rae.
I went to. I'm not gonna out this smoothie place that I went to, but I went to a smoothie place and I got an acai bowl. In that acai bowl, okay, there was 115 grams of sugar in that one acai bowl and about 900 calories in this one acai bowl.
How you find out? Okay.
It's like I know the place now.
So I went to Threads. I was just like, y'all, this acai bowl has the same content, or not content, but the same amount of sugar as a Coca-Cola. And people are going in talking about how it's a different type of sugar. And why would you say that? And I was like, no, actually, because acai is actually only about 2 grams of sugar. A real acai fruit is about 2 grams of sugar.
Is it a popular place? Is that why people are going in?
It's one of these places, one of these smoothie places. A whole bunch of people are going there.
Okay.
But it was very eye-opening to me. Now, this is the second time on social media where I'm like, okay, what is going on? Because people were defending sugar more than the fact that they were defending their health.
People like to argue.
Yeah.
And so those are just two instances where I was just like, wow, yeah, this is social media, but it made a difference, and I feel aware. And like I said what I said. That's way too much sugar in one acai bowl, and make them at home so that they're healthier for your body.
Those 2 stories you just told, the differences in them, and I think that being able to navigate social media, being able to do that. So you had the one where, you had this lady that said something about your body and how your health is, which has nothing to do with them, right? But you took that and you're like, dang, I guess let me look into this myself. And you did something with it, not for her, but for yourself. And so then you spoke up about something, and now those people, they're looking at this like, I eat this acai bowl all the time.
Okay.
Hold on. I love this place. So then the reflection, though, for them, they may not be taking it that way. Right. So now they feel defensive, like, dang, should I be eating this, acai bowl? And it's having to, like, either change perspectives, meaning like, dang, Marley Rae's right. This is, or no, I'm not going to agree with this because I don't like the way it sounds.
Right.
So it's like the opposite of what's happening. But I think it's a lesson what you did, which is like, that's the internal work. Like, you don't have to go back and forth about acai bowl. If you're going to eat it, it's fine. You just give them some education.
And that's it, because I ate my bowl and I was happy about it.
I love acai bowl.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll probably eat it once, twice a year, whatever. But now I'm in the know.
Right. Yeah.
Because for a long time, I was eating these bowls of snacks and then eating a meal on top of that, So it's just being aware. And I think that that's one thing, is like, we need to be aware of what we're consuming. And to the social media of it all, we need to be aware of what we're consuming online, what we're consuming in our bodies, what we're consuming in conversation. I think that consumption is really the root of all of it. How much are we really taking on? Yeah.
Well, definitely keep speaking up. We could talk to you all day, but we're going to have to wrap it up. So in wrapping it up, there's some takeaways. Usually at the end, we do takeaways where you can say anything you want to our audience. It could be a quote, a message, whatever is coming to you. You have a takeaway for us?
Takeaway is to just really figure out what works for you. Figure out what works for you. Take time for yourself. Get comfortable with saying no. That's been a big thing for me, is saying no, setting boundaries, but also be open enough to experience life, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Wow. Because there are practices, and life is always going to pull you back. So yeah, I think that's really what I would say. We have a lot of stuff happening at WalkGood LA. We're going on our 5-year anniversary.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, 5 years of WalkGood LA. So we'll be doing this whole bunch of different stuff in June. So make sure to follow us at WalkGood LA. Follow me at Namaste Marley Rae. And yeah, that's all I have.
Well, thank you so much, Marley. And that's it for this week's episode of Black Women Healing Podcast.
Thank you, ladies.
Now I need to know the name of the smoothie place.
Are the mics on? Turn the mic off.